Hello, world. Welcome back to the UnChristian podcast. Thank you so much for being with us today. Once again, thank you for joining us wherever you are in the world, whatever you're doing. My name is Ntalo Mathebula. I'm your host on the UnChristian podcast. Thank you so much for being with us here today. And like always, we bring you riveting conversation with fabulous guests. It's a cold, rainy day in Johannesburg today where we are in this part of the world. But in the studio here, it's going to get hot, it's going to get warmed up, it's going to get heated up. And I'm excited for what we're going to talk about today. Please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it please to someone else that you know will benefit from this conversation. And let's have healthy, open, candid conversations for healing and growth in our time. Let's get into it. Today, I have a woman who is so passionate about children, so passionate about the next generation. She is principal of our children's school, children's ministry at our church at Let's Go to Glory Worship Center. So I always get to hear in this house, Teacher Ntalo said this, Teacher Ntalo said that. And I have never met someone more passionate about children than her, and who's really good at the work as well that she does. She's a speech therapist, she's a facilitator, an entrepreneur, a speaker of conferences. She is a teacher. Wherever she goes, she always loves to impart knowledge and wisdom. And I'm so honored today to finally have her on this podcast, Mrs. Ntalo Mathebula in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Ma'am, welcome.
Thank you so much,
Yes. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I want to appreciate the work that you're doing with our children. I don't know if you know how much we really appreciate it.
Oh, man.
You know, and I'm not just talking about us who are blessed to have you at our church, but, you know, you're really building the future.
Sure. That is so humbling.
Yes,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
the feedback.
Yes. You know, you are serious about children's ministry, and I want to get into that a little bit. How did your love for children? Because I don't think it's just about children's ministry. I think it's a love for children generally that you have. Am I accurate in saying that?
Look, I think you are, hey?
Yeah.
Because the funny thing is, as in my childhood and up to youth, I never really liked children.
Oh, interesting.
It's interesting,
Very
hey?
interesting. It's unlike you.
Yeah. So, but I think deep down, God knew that God has a way of introducing us to ourselves, right?
Right.
So when I went to varsity and I did speech therapy, the love for children just became so alive.
Wow.
And I think from there on, I realized how I was robbed when I just felt so annoyed as a child when children would come around. I just didn't know what to do.
Right.
So, I mean, you look at me today, so through my profession, I actually got to realize that I really love children. And I enjoy, because for me, I find that they are so easy to work with. I don't know, other people, they're scared of children.
Other people think it's the opposite. They see kids and elderly, they see them the most difficult to work with.
I know.
Yeah.
And for me, since I really entered, you know, where I really also realized that it's not just on my profession, it's when I was a student going to Let's Go to Glory. That's long time ago when we joined Let's Go to Glory.
Yeah. Almost 20 years ago, around about there.
Yeah. Pastor T, who is Apostle Mandana today, he asked me to assist in the children's ministry.
Yeah.
And at that time, I knew somehow that this is where I belong.
You've been at it that long?
Yes.
Amazing.
And unfortunately, at that time, we had to leave Joburg. So I only did it for a while. Then when I went back home, and I think once you know this is what you want to do, I did a few seminars in different churches, and I realized how I really feel fulfilled afterwards.
Amazing.
So for me, it's those years in varsity and the early years at our church when I really felt the calling. Yeah.
From a spiritual vantage point, to us as parents, generally, what is it that you want us to know about children? You know, because sometimes we think, they're too young to understand prayer, too young to
I know.
have a relationship with God. They don't understand this. But you are running altar calls in the children's ministry. You are getting children born again. They are serving in the church. What is it you'd like us to know about kids that we might be mistaken about?
I'm glad you're asking that because I feel a lot of times our perception is so incorrect about children and exactly that. You know, if I may take it from a spiritual point of view, Jesus looks at children and he associates them with greatness.
Yes.
He says, if you want to be great, be like
Be
these
like them,
ones.
yeah.
So first of all, I think it's important that we look at them the way God sees them. So there is so much greatness that is hidden, and sometimes we miss it because they are naughty, you know, maybe even cognitively they can't comprehend the things that we comprehend. But I feel that another thing that is important is it's for us to understand that we are not only here to teach them, they are also here to teach us.
That's right.
For
That's
me,
right.
I have realized that I never knew what patience was until I had children.
We
you
think
know.
we are growing children. Children are growing us.
They're growing us. I like that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, most of the time we feel we are here to tell them. And sometimes they tell us something and we are never attentive. We don't receive them. And God has an amazing way of communicating to us. It's through them. And we are too busy sometimes.
Yeah.
So, Mina, I feel that if we can start there to understand that it's a two-way thing. You are not just here to grow them. They are also here to grow us as parents.
And they have tremendous faith.
I know.
Sometimes the things they say, you're like, yay, Danam, yay, your mind, your faith is big. Hey?
Look, and that is why, you know, Jesus would say, be like them, because you know what? They have faith, it can stretch. They believe anything. And I think that is what is enjoyable. When I work with them, you tell them something, they work with it. They don't question. Okay, yes, they will have those questions, right?
Yes.
The why, but it's not coming from a doubt perspective. It's coming from, I want to understand.
Inquisitiveness.
Yes, they are just inquisitive, curious.
Yes.
But you're right. Their faith is so huge that if we can be like them, we can really move mountains, right?
Yes. Whenever there's a need or anything, I see it with my children, their first point of call is God.
Yes.
Jesus. If we're feeling sick or ill, I'm thinking, oh my word, pharmacy. I'm thinking, doctor, like, no, Jesus will heal us.
Amen.
Then I pause. I'm like, oh, okay, wow, that is the God kind of faith.
Yes.
That's not mixed up with life and experiences. And,
No, because that's what we taught them.
Yeah.
So they apply it immediately, you see. And when at that time you have forgotten with Pella, who actually told them that God first. And then when they do it. So
and
that's
they really
how,
go out. Yes. That's great. Today we're talking about the troubled child, parenting the troubled child.
Sure.
And troubled child could be in a child maybe that has grown up in an abusive environment, maybe orphaned, maybe the child of a teenager mother, maybe a child who's got special needs, diseased, whatever it must be, a child who's just going through, who's just got special needs and needs special attention. And I know when you say special needs, we think of things like autism and all of that. Yes, it's part of it, but there's so much to this because I really don't believe there's a bad child. Children really are a product of socialization, and they're a product of what we sow in and what the environment sows in. And these kids find themselves as victims of circumstances. But a parent who's parenting a troubled child, quote unquote, can find themselves in a helpless situation. And I wanted us to just break that down and shed some wisdom and shed light to say how maybe if perspectives were to change, we would have an easier time with so-called troubled children. For you, just that topic alone, and what comes to your mind, what are your beginning remarks as we embark on that?
Look, Ndumi, so to be honest, before we even talk about a troubled child or parenting a child with special needs in whatever way, parenting on its own, it's hard.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yes.
So I think we need to also understand that before we add all those things, parenting, we are never ready for it, let me tell you. Even those who feel I've planned this child. So it's not an easy road. So for me, I just want everyone to understand that no one gets it right all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's important that we start from that end to say, even if your child is not special needs, there are difficulties to parenting generally.
Generally, yeah.
So now when we come to what you are now pointing out, children who are troubled, like you said, from whatever angle, first of all, it's an emotional draining journey.
It is.
And I mean, if a 2-year-old can really drain you, now a child who's got added problems, it can be very overwhelming.
That's right.
So one thing that I want to say is that a parent who is looking after a troubled child, they need to do an emotional check in most of the time, because it's
With the child? Or
with themselves
Selves.
first.
Right.
Because, you know, in our growing, you know, we were raised by parents who, I don't want to call, but at some point it would look like toxic authority, because there was just no formula as to what is parenting all about. Uyakhala, uyashaya. You know, uyathula.
There was no winning.
There was no winning, right? So we have to unlearn a lot of things first, because I think we don't realize that we come with a lot of baggage when we come into the parenting journey.
Sure.
We are also troubled from the way we were raised.
Let's just start there. We ourselves are troubled parents. Let's just start there.
You know? And in as much as they did a lot of things and we turned out right, we thank God.
Somehow.
So I'm saying that a lot of us don't realize that there is a lot of forgiveness that we need to do. There is a lot of unlearning that we need to do. It's because now when a child is troubled and we haven't offloaded all those things, you can imagine how heavy the journey is. So if I have a child who has special needs, whether it's from a mild spectrum, because you know it can be mild, it can be too severe.
Sure.
It's adding to what you sometimes are not aware that you are carrying.
Sure.
So emotionally, you are not ready. So I think for me, it's to see the need to do that emotional check-in from yourself.
Yeah.
Am I emotionally okay? You know, because, and I think that's where us who are doing parenting coach, we are saying godly parenting. So you need a relationship with God to help you offload, because it is a lot.
Yeah.
You have to carry a lot, because parenting on its own comes with a lot of uncertainty. You know, today you feel like I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow you wake up.
Out of the blue, a curveball just hits you like, wow, what did I do wrong?
I'm telling you.
Yeah, and the self-blame and the guilt
self-blame
that comes
and the
with
guilt. So children who have special needs or who are troubled, they bring a lot of load on you, because it's so difficult to understand their world. You are also overwhelmed yourself from your past experiences. And on top of that, it's the stigma sometimes.
Oh, man. Yes.
When people are talking, oh, my child, this, oh, my child, and it's positive things. But when you're with your child, they are busy with drugs.
Nkosi yami.
And
Not doing well at school.
Struggling
Struggling socially. So
So
much.
makuqhamuka le conversation, what do you say?
Hey,
Do you see?
Because there's no space to say, "Ish, as in guys, got I'm struggling."
My child doesn't fall
Sure.
in all of those categories of a top achiever,
Yes, yes.
focused and all that. So when you say that, for me, it's the support that we need to give those who are raising these children.
Yes.
To say, let's give room to talk about this without feeling judged.
Yeah.
Because they're already judged. And some of this emotional burden that I'm saying, it comes from the parent themselves. They might feel that they've contributed to what the child is going through.
Yes.
In a case of, I remember when I was still at varsity, I got to understand how children think around a case of divorce. That this child thought if she can be a good girl, maybe mom and dad will get back together.
She thought it was her fault.
She thought she just had to be a good girl.
Yeah.
And because maybe it's because she was not a good girl. And I think she was around 12, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember I had to give therapy. So when I realized that her speech problem actually became worse even after the divorce, then the psychologist who was working in that case also gave me that background. I got to understand how sometimes we don't realize that as adults, we think life will just go on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But this child is sitting there thinking, I must be the cause. So if I can do something right, this marriage will be restored.
Sure.
So can you imagine the burden?
Wow.
So when as a parent, you've got your own different battles, you don't realize that the child is even taking the blame into the whole matter.
Sure.
So there is a lot going on when we talk about parenting in that context. And when you are just concerned about them being a good child.
Yeah.
But when internally they are battling to say, how do I restore this because I feel I'm the cause?
Sure.
So there is a lot going on when we talk about parenting a troubled child. And that is why it's important that we aim for the heart-to-heart connection.
Right.
And those kids, they are emotionally disconnected. It's so easy for them to feel unloved.
Wow.
A small thing, if you understand that parenting most of the time, it's discipline.
Yeah.
Right? You are forever disciplining. So now when you discipline a child who strongly feels that I'm the cause, you can imagine that a small thing as, okay, I'm giving you time out, they feel hated already. So
or as a parent, you can avoid discipline as well. You can be avoidant of discipline because you're overcompensating. For the deficit that you feel you've caused.
Exactly.
Which causes another problem.
Because they get away with murder.
Yeah.
You're right. And from the parents' end, you find that sometimes you choose peace indeed.
Yeah.
Because you just want peace.
Yes.
And also you are feeling bad.
Yeah.
Because this child is going through this whole thing, and you just feel like, maybe, you know what, let me not even be harsh on them. And life has to go on. So there is a lot to balance here.
Sure.
So parenting in that context, I must say, it's not an easy one.
Wow.
Because we come here and say, do this, do that. But we don't realize that there is a lot going internally that needs to be dealt with.
Yes.
And a child is unable to receive your counsel or your discipline because they're simply having a lot in them.
Yes.
So if we think of a child maybe who has a low cognitive ability, so you're parenting a child who has poor academic performance, it's also difficult because if you don't have the tools to work with that, you try and do homework with them, you realize how they are struggling, and it can be very heavy, for both the parent and the child, because whatever you try and do, it just exposes the weakness. And that's where we need to understand that we need to seek more support from professional and emotional support is important. And we live in a time where people have become so individualized that I can do things on my own. I don't need Ndumiso to tell me. Tina, when we were growing up, the saying that goes, it takes a child,
village, yeah.
it takes a village to
Yeah.
raise a child.
It's so
It was
true.
real, hey?
It is so true.
It was real.
Yeah.
So another thing which I feel that in the 21st century it's happening, parents are not giving themselves room to breathe because they are taking it all in by themselves.
I
You
see.
know, you cannot do it alone.
Oh, man.
And you need to come to a point where you say, look, let me consult a professional. Let me consult that auntie. I know sometimes as relatives, we don't wish well with each other, but it's not everyone who does not wish you well.
Yes, yes.
There must be that one relative,
There have to be good people there as well.
yeah, who is for you.
Yes.
And so I think we fear being judged.
Yes.
You know, that, okay, if I go to umalume or go to auntie and tell them, this is what I'm experiencing, my child is doing drugs, and they are just not doing things well, maybe they will judge me. Why did the child turn to drugs? It's your cause,
Yes.
you know? And sometimes that's what people are fearing. Yeah.
And that's hard. If we were to zoom in into that kind of situation
Mm-hmm.
that you've just touched on, where there's a divorce and then there's mixed families,
Mm-hmm.
there is step dad, step mom, kind
Mm.
of. What is it that you'd like us to pay attention to and to know those who are parenting children in those circumstances?
Children are caught in the middle.
Yeah.
And I don't think we realize how it's difficult for them to choose sides. And I think it's important that the parents that are involved, if it's a blended family or you are co-parenting, I don't know, the setup might be whatever, but all the children need is love from both sides.
Sure.
So the minute we start to compete or compare, because the problem is the parent on the other end will say, hey, yazi ubabakho, angazi ucabangani.
Yeah.
Why is he doing things like this? Kids are listening.
Yes.
And this is their dad.
Sure.
On the other side, dad will say the same thing. Yazi mina angazi nje ukuthi lo mama
umama
ucabangani man. You know? So I think it's important that we protect our children
Yes.
from the toxic talks.
They shouldn't have to take sides in the first
No,
place.
they shouldn't.
Because both parents are equally important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying they are caught in the middle.
Yeah.
So we need to have a candid conversation to say, let's be civil about raising these kids. Even if we disagree. With me and my husband, we have just made a decision that we are not going to disagree in front of the children, even if we feel strongly, because we are raising children who are very smart. They're manipulative.
Yes.
When they realize that, okay, these two are fighting, they can use that to their
a gate
advantage.
for them, yes.
Exactly. And they know who can be easily twisted.
Yes, yes.
So the most important thing is to agree in front of kids. If you feel there's something you don't agree, go and disagree in private.
Sure. I heard someone say that it's important to disagree in front of the kids so as to demonstrate conflict resolution. How do you feel about that?
I strongly feel that in the ages of development, you want to be careful. I would do that when the child is now a teen, because in that age,
Right.
they actually work with
Yes,
conflict, you know, if you know what I'm saying. But for younger kids, they can't really think deeply. For them, a simple disagreement is a big fight.
It's a crisis.
It's a crisis that can
this family
send
is going to
them.
break down. This
You know, the world
it goes, yeah.
Exactly. However, discussing with them, don't disagree. Discussing with them to say, you know, we were talking with dad. It seems we don't agree on this one. It's okay. But the actual disagreement,
Yes.
Mina, for the younger kids, I say it's a no-no because they can't deal with it.
Sure.
They're too young to understand.
Yeah, yeah.
And also the interpersonal skills of both parents.
Yeah.
Because if the other one is a shouter,
Yes, yes.
or they just don't know how to filter words,
Yes.
do you think it's a good thing?
Kids are going to hear things they should not hear.
You see now.
Yeah.
And how do you make sure that out of that conflict resolution, they are able to take away the bad language that
Yes.
might have been used.
Yes, yes.
So I think for me, that's where I wouldn't agree totally with all age groups.
Yeah.
So for younger kids, let's protect
Yeah,
them.
it must be age appropriate.
It
yeah.
must be age
I
appropriate.
hear
Yeah,
you. No,
yeah.
no, that's great. Children also struggle with things like bullies
Yes.
because friendship relationships are one of the first core relationships they learn in their growing up. And then unfortunately in that social circle, whether it's at school, church, or even just in the community, you find bullying going on.
Yes, yes.
And that can damage a child in a way that we don't even see as parents, because sometimes they feel that if they go and tell mom or dad, they will be victimized more by the bully to say you're a crybaby. You know,
Exactly.
or by others who do tease. How do we help children deal with bullying? Should they punch that bully back in the face? What should they do?
It's a hard one, hey? There are cultural elements to how we equip our kids.
Okay.
Different cultures approach it differently.
Okay.
Some, because of the way they believe how a person is supposed to stand for themselves, immediately parents will say to a child, fight back.
Eesh.
Shy.
Yeah.
If you're shy now, punch, you know? And there are certain cultures that don't really believe in that. So it can be very difficult because culture does play a role. But we want to make sure that first we do not encourage violence in how children stand up for themselves. But I believe that as parents, most of the time, we catch this story of a child being bullied very late.
Sure.
That even when the child is telling you it has gone too far. And what I want to say is that parents must learn to be an open channel of communication when they are kids, when your child is giving you a report, be attentive.
Wow.
Because once it goes too far, that's where even when you try to intervene, it becomes so difficult that they can be victimized, like you're saying, even more.
Yes.
But I believe that it starts there where we learn a culture of listening to our children, be attentive. And sometimes we find that parents can be so overprotective. And
because we just love this kid so much.
we love them so much. We can't fight their fights.
Yeah.
So it's important that we start to have a culture that says, I give parents an acronym CAPS, C-A-P-S, to say C is for channel, be the channel of communication all the time.
Sure.
The A is for be attentive, ask the right questions, you know, and the P is for praise your child, you know, pet them, believe them more. And the S is for smile all the time.
Sure.
So it's important that now and then in a week, it might not be every day, have a CAPS moment with your child. I'm going to be intentionally that open channel. So it starts from there. So parents who are always open with their kids, they know it even from the beginning. So if a child is being bullied, first, also don't take your child's side and run with it. It's also another important one. So follow on it, go to the school and say, my child is reporting this. What is the bullying policy? Because also, I don't want parents to just run with this on their own. There are policies. So if it's happening at school, use the right channel. If it's happening at home, speak to the parents. And sometimes some of these parents will actually tell you off to say, Una mangalo. I'm sure we am shy.
My child will never.
Will never. You know? And it can be very difficult if it gets to that point where the other parent is defensive or is protecting their child. But I think it's important that we as parents, we believe our children. However, we say to our children, let's also get the side of the story from the other person. So that when we deal with this, we know how is the other party approaching it? And in some instances, if it doesn't stop, we might want to introduce professionals like social workers, psychologists, because it can get
So you can get to that level.
yeah, it can escalate. And so it's not an easy one, I must say, but it starts with how we as parents are actually open channels. When our kids are being bullied and you can only find out on year 3,
What then?
For me, it's a sad one because we are professionals. We are too busy, number one. Number two, we are just not attentive. If a child comes back home and you can see they are not their normal self,
Sure.
take time to understand why.
What's going on?
What happened, But hence I'm saying if it's a tradition of making sure that at least once a week I sit with my child and find out what's happening with them, you will somehow know that there's something wrong, So it's a very tricky one because I feel that with the busy schedules that we have found a way to make an excuse to say, but I don't have time. I was at work. And, so first of all, Mina, I feel if the parents can be involved, it helps. And the other person who is bullying your child, who is a bully, is also another factor that we need to address and understand that children need to understand that it's not them. The problem is not them. Because the issue of bullying can easily suggest, I'm weak, there's something wrong with me.
Yes.
They feel rejected
Yes,
in the whole process.
Okay.
So it's us affirming them, making them understand that the problem is with the other person. Because especially in the toxic parenting that our parents would say things like, weak, wakushaya vele, yabo? Wamyeka vele, and that can add to the baggage.
Yes.
Because already a child is asking themselves, why am I a target?
Yeah.
Why am I always targeted? Is there something wrong with me?
Yeah.
So that is what we need to teach our children, not to take that angle of blaming themselves or feeling that they are the rejected ones. So it's not an easy one. And if we feel that, because we are not all trained to talk to children, involve professionals if you can.
I see.
Speak to a class teacher to say, look, I feel this is a sensitive issue. Let's be careful, but I want my child to be helped.
Yes.
And in some instances, if it doesn't stop, you might need to change schools. That's how bad it can be. But it's a real one. And, I was sitting under a teaching of this lady who was talking about the untold stories of children on their daily experiences at school. That sometimes we don't realize that our kids, on a daily basis, someone is using them as a sex object. Teachers that we trust, these are untold stories.
Sure.
That on a daily basis,
Things we don't know.
things are happening. So we need to unpack and reveal, or rather open a channel for children to feel I can be open, because it goes for years that these children are being treated like that.
Wow.
We don't know what they're going through, and they have to perform academically. But on the other side, they know teachers Bani has made me their sex object. On a daily basis, he wants this. And the sad thing, when she was telling us about the untold stories, she was saying that it has come to a point where even female teachers are doing this thing to boys. So in a context where we think of bullying as something, because it's harassment and bullying at the same time, So there's a lot that children are going through. And as parents, are we aware? Do we even notice that these kids are carrying so much? They are going through those things. So when you talk about bullying, it gets so deep that it even goes as far as sexual harassment.
My goodness.
So there is a lot that parents need to understand when it comes to parenting their kids, that a troubled child could be troubled because someone who they're supposed to trust at school is harassing them.
Wow.
Now, they just can't trust adults. Now, even when you try to speak to them, they have now generalized
Yes.
that adults cannot be trusted.
Yes. Adults are not safe.
They are not safe.
Sure.
So it's one of those things that we don't realize that in some cases, our parenting really needs to elevate. And in an African culture where talking about sexual stuff or sex, it's a taboo.
Yeah.
It becomes difficult because somehow we just find it difficult to break through. But I'm thankful that we are a generation that is younger parents.
Yeah.
We are educated.
Yeah.
These things need to be addressed. So when we look at bullying, I want us to think deep as bullying and sexual harassment that children could be facing, which is why they are troubled. And when you now try to understand the way they go about with relationships, you start to find that there's promiscuity, because someone has violated it already. So we need to step up, because bullying is a minor thing now. I'm at that level where I'm saying, are we even aware of the sexual harassment that our children are facing, in their daily encounters, So, you are raising something else there.
Yeah, this is powerful. Right. As you talk about sexuality in children, that's another can of worms. Basically, what I'm getting is that if we're to summarize the problem there, it's kids being introduced to sex too early and in an inappropriate way or source. How does it look when it's healthy? Having this sex conversation, relationships conversation, teaching them about their bodies. How is it supposed to look? And I don't think you're surprised, because we could be talking to a parent, their child is puberty age, they have not had a healthy sexual journey themselves. Maybe there was abuse and promiscuity and all of that, so they don't know how it looks. They've never lived that. And so it can look simple for us to say, in a healthy way, everyone should know it's supposed to be A, B, C. This is the first step. It's not that cut and dry in our society, isn't it?
Look, like I said, we have to acknowledge, they say sometimes it's not easy to give what you don't have. And I think we come from a generation where we ourselves were not given that, where a healthy way of a parent and a child talking about relationships and sexual stuff has been accepted. So now we are coming into a generation where we are actually saying we need to unlearn and to see it not as taboo, but as something that needs to happen from home. Because, it's so bad that a lot of people get married and they realize that their parents never, not even once, spoke to them about marriage, sex life, So, and especially in a Christian context, it becomes even harder. So, look, in today's world, especially in South Africa, let's look at the curriculum. It doesn't help for us to say it's taboo, because the curriculum already introduces these things way too early than we think.
They go right ahead of us.
They're so way ahead of us. And technology on the other side.
Oh, man. The access.
These people, they have a lot of information.
Hey.
They look at you and they go like, you still want to say... babies come from aeroplanes.
The birds and the bees.
Exactly. Doesn't work. No. Because social media has showed them or has told them
how it actually is.
How it actually is. And at school also, in as much as, I feel that it's a controversial one, because we need to teach body awareness. It's true. But there are certain details that can be reserved for later for children. So there is a an age appropriateness approach that needs to be applied. I can speak to my children to say, one day, you are going to have a family. I'm opening a channel of let's talk about relationships without going too deep. So for the younger kids, you don't want to open it up too much. But it's important that children feel safe to discuss these things with us because we are able to even put the values. Unlike in the curriculum where they will tell you, no, it's okay to touch yourself and make yourself feel good.
It's normal, it's
and
natural.
It's normal. Do you know that's taught?
I'm aware. Yeah.
It's taught.
Sad. It's really...
And we have to take ownership of this subject and say, I'm the one who's supposed to teach my child what's appropriate, what's not appropriate.
That's right.
And because the time for us to tabuize it or make it taboo, it really has to end because these things are in their faces, in their eyes, in their ears. They are hearing it. So we need to make a decision as parents. Who are they going to hear it from?
Wow.
So for me, hard as it is, I must say, even with me, it's not an easy one, but I want to make sure that my child gets the best advice from me when it comes to sexual pleasure.
Yes.
Because it's important that I tell them, especially in my values, because with us, we believe it has to be within marriage, right? But we need to make sure that we talk about this thing so that they understand that there's nothing abnormal about them, because in the puberty phases, the body is doing something.
Yes.
Who must talk to them about it? Because they're feeling this thing.
Yes.
And I think parents are running away from this.
And I think we're running away because we feel not equipped. And how do you have that conversation? And it's
a hot one.
But what's dropping in my head right now is that kids will always give us the opportunity to open up the conversation.
Yes.
They will start talking about Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Opportunity.
Start
talking about, Dad, where do kids come from? Opportunity. But what happens when the opportunity comes, sometimes it hits us by surprise.
We lie. Isn't it like we're saying, where do kids come from? Yes. That's a channel they are opening.
Yes.
When you lie about it. Do you see?
And then they don't trust you.
They don't trust you now.
Because they will get the truth.
And actually, by the time they come to you, they have information. So they're not asking because they're clueless. Yeah. Most of the time, they just want to hear. Because a friend at school told them, So you are right. When that opportunity arises, what do you do with it? The wisdom to know, how do I have this conversation in a safe but honest way? It's one thing that maybe in our parenting workshops, when we do workshops, we must equip parents to say, don't run away from that topic.
You can't run away.
You can't run away. Because the minute they say, "Hey, Valentine's, yin logo man." Don't bring that subject again. Yeah. And now they're confused. Why? And at school, the teacher was talking about it. Yeah. That, it's Valentine's Day tomorrow. But when they try to open that at home, it's like, yay,
Dad and Mom just changed.
Exactly. The mood changes. Yeah. So we need to come up with a safe way or a shock-absorbent approach where even if we are shocked, let's not show it. Exactly. Like, let's have a way of saying, okay, say figure the topic. Oh, okay, it's in Valentine's. Yes. So and find a way to say, but you are too young to date, right? Yeah. So you start to say to them, look, there will come a time when it's correct for you to want to approach it. For now, I'm your Valentine. Me and Dad, if it's in a couple setup, me and Dad are your Valentine. Yes. So those are the things that we need to learn to not attack, because I think we were taught, like I'm saying, that parenting, those people would attack you.
I can see it. It's what we go through.
and if we can't unlearn that with the kids nowadays, these kids are empowered.
Oh, man.
they know how to express themselves.
And they've got access to information.
I'm telling
That's
you.
the sad thing. Let's talk about disease
Yeah.
in a troubled child,
Yeah.
whether physical or mental. We come from an era, I think 90s, maybe to a little bit of the early 2000s, where a child who was very energetic and very active in school and in class was immediately labeled ADD or ADHD now, as it's called. There's depression, there's anxiety, there's all kinds of things that's on the mental spectrum.
Yeah.
Physically, you could have a child who's really sick, who's got something asthmatic, whatever it might be, a heart condition, a sickly child, you know. When it's winter, I know there's some parents now are just in a stress because by as winter is just not nice for them. How do we advise parents like that who are dealing with children who are sickly?
As I started by talking about the emotional aspect of it, that there is a lot of burden that it brings. We need to also understand the fact that there is a financial burden also that comes with raising a child who is sick.
And we often do not talk about that.
We often don't even realize.
It's costly.
So forget about disciplining this child. All I want is money for this child to consult.
Sure.
Do you see? Mina, I'm saying, discipline your child. Bona, they are asking themselves, where will I get the money to cover the medical bill? So when we talk about a child who's got a condition, I don't like disease, who's got a condition, we have to realize the financial burden that that parent is facing.
Sure.
Because you find that in a case where we're talking about autism and about ADHD, although I feel these labels are overused and sometimes we are quick to point them out.
There can be an overdiagnosis.
I know.
Of these things. Because you just see some traits looking like it.
Exactly.
Immediately you put a label.
Because children have energy naturally.
Yes.
So sometimes just because they are up and down, it doesn't mean they have ADHD.
Yeah. And diagnosis, inappropriate diagnosis, puts a burden on the child for a long time.
I know.
That
You're
label.
saying something there. And as a professional, you know, I always say to the children's ministry teachers, last time I was training in Swaziland, they were asking me, so what if when you see a child who has the signs of autism and all, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
First of all, not everybody has the right to diagnose.
Yeah.
Don't be too quick to put
You're
labels.
not a doctor.
You are not a doctor. You are not a specialist.
Yes.
Because even I, as a speech therapist, I don't do the diagnosis alone. I have to refer that child to a psychologist. I have to refer that child to a pediatrician, just for us to be sure. You know, sometimes to a neurologist. So we must go easy. I just felt, let me take a bit of a detour to say, let us not be too quick to diagnose because, like you're saying, that label can stay for life. And if it's incorrect, imagine what you've put that child through.
Sure.
So for me, I want parents to also be careful, but there is an element of denial. There are some parents who are in denial that even after the proper diagnosis, they don't want to take it.
Right.
So there needs to be a balance that don't just take a label until there is a proper diagnosis.
Got you.
However, when that diagnosis has been made, the earlier we accept, the better. Sure. Because the battle for you know, let me say this, Ndumiso, there is a loss of a normal child when that diagnosis comes.
Yes.
You are mourning a loss. So we need to understand that these parents, they feel they've lost a child somehow, even though it's not lost as in they've died, but there's a perfect child that died.
Yes.
You know, and they're forever working with how do I restore my child? How do I get that normal child
back?
You know, so that is something that we need to know that parents are battling with, and having to take this child to the different specialists. Like I said, financially it's taxing. Physically it's draining.
And it's time.
And it's time.
Time of work.
You understand?
It's time away from the other kids.
I wanted to come to that. That the other kids also, they might even start resenting that child because it seems, Bona, they don't understand that this child just needs extra attention. For them, this child is stealing their mommy time from them because...
Favorite.
Exactly, favorite.
Favorite.
And ngathi yena makakhala nje bakuzwa easy ukuthi hey lo uyakhala thina abanye when we cry hey abayithi
bazoba strong.
hey bazoba strong, you know. So they end up feeling like this is a favorite child. They get the most attention. It's like, you know, some of us don't even matter. We have to figure things out most of the time. You know, I have to take Esihle to the doctor.
Yeah.
And then please wait. And then the other child feels like, so Mina, I must always wait.
Sure. And then that moment right there, that's a critical moment you've hit on.
It's rejection.
I was about to say, that dismissal equals rejection.
It equals rejection. And I think for the parent also, it's not easy because they know the medical aspect of raising this child, that it's priority somehow. So now parents who are raising those kids, I know and I understand that you need to give priority because you know the medical aspect needs to be attended to, or the psychological, but make time so that you can balance the time. Have quality time with your kids. There has to be a time where you also sometimes go with them to this appointments. Instead of saying, hey, magancane wena,
I'm taking.
So why don't you say, do you want to come along? And the first time they might want to say no, but it might actually give them a different response to say, oh, I'm actually part of the support system. So let's learn not to, because that's where kids are feeling so rejected and unimportant because we make this one to be the center and then nina banye. But if we are doing this as a family, it sends a message, a different message that says we are here for one another. We are supporting, you know. So let's be careful. I know it's very difficult for parents because you're not on its own, the condition, like I said. It sends you to a space where you are mourning a loss of a normal child. You are feeling the financial burden, the emotional burden. It's a lot. We cannot take away that. But let's learn to accommodate the other kids. And remember, kids have different love languages, just like adults. You know? If a child is a quality time child, the one who's not sick, you're always not there. Do you think that child will feel loved?
No. Because their love tank is empty.
It's empty. And Mona, how they feel loved, it's when you spend quality time.
Doesn't matter what you buy them.
It doesn't matter. And you know, when I first learned that sometimes buying a birthday gift to a quality time person might mean nothing. And we only want to understand this in a context of marriage. No, even children.
Yes.
I was like, okay. So when I first discovered that as a parenting coach, I was like, wow, parents need to understand how important, because that child is taking something, the sick child is taking something that is supposed to help them measure whether I'm loved or not. The time. Because Bona, they want quality time. So it can be very difficult to balance that. And hence I'm saying that we need to realize the other elements that comes with it, to say, when we talk about these things, the parent, they hear you, but they go like, but I have a medical bill to cover. Do you understand? So we need to support with an understanding that there is a lot going there. But we have to ask, and that is where godly parenting comes. That when all of this comes, because another thing that I've realized in Dumiso in parenting, if you don't acknowledge that that child is not yours, the pressure becomes so high because you think this is your child.
And it's on me.
It's on me.
All of it is on me to make it work. So when the child is doing well, I can overly pump up myself.
Exactly.
And when the child is not doing well and they're troubled, like we say, I just throw myself down.
And now I feel other people are judging me.
Yes.
But kahle kahle, it starts with how you see this parenting thing.
I'm judging myself, aren't I?
I'm actually judging myself.
Yeah.
So one of the things that is the beauty of being Christian, I know we might not all be Christian, but for me, I have really learned to say, sometimes I just need to cast it all on God and say, God, this is your child that you borrowed me. Yeah. This is hard, So that pressure will actually go down. So it's important that we find ways of practicing mindfulness, if I may say, and be mindful of whose child is this, to say, what, I don't have to take it all. I can just, and there are times where, these parents, sometimes, you see how drained they are. They can't even have time to pamper themselves.
Oh, my goodness.
You need that when you raise a child who is, if you look at ADHD when it's on the higher spectrum, those kids will send you up you are always on your toes.
Yes.
Because you sit here, they're already climbing there. They're already, when you come back, when they come back from school, there's a report that says this child was, you just don't rest, So it's important that we find ways. That's why other support systems will come handy.
Yes.
When that one weekend, you need to say, hey, that auntie that you trust, I know, because they are for you.
Yes.
They can take it for 1 or 2 days
yes.
because they understand your situation.
Sure.
Take some time off.
Yes.
And when you go and retreat, relax. And these parents, the way they're so used to worrying, even when they try to retreat or they try to take some time off, they will be on the call always. Unjani? Wenzani? It's not helping.
Sure.
So parents, take it easy, and you are already doing a lot. You are on the right track because this is demanding a lot. Raising the child with those special conditions or special needs, it's not an easy job.
At all. I was listening to, I think it was Trevor Noah, in an interview talking about his ADHD diagnosis that took place well into his 30s. Whereas we know now that it's actually a childhood condition that starts to manifest even from before the age of 12. And he said something very interesting there that I resonated with as someone who's also been diagnosed with ADHD, that he had to understand ADHD not from the perspective only of the textbook and the doctor, but understand his ADHD, how it manifests in his life. Now we go back to the children's conversation. This thing does have textbook definitions. It has a list of symptoms and all of it, but you must understand how specifically it manifests for your child, whether it's a physical condition or a mental condition, right?
It's so true.
Without giving it ownership, with into yomntanam less, but we're trying to be saying, pay attention to the specific manifestation of it in your child, because like you were saying, it's a spectrum.
It's a spectrum.
Yeah.
And you know what? Can I tell you, I'm ADD. So you need to also teach your child to see the positive side that the diagnosis brings into their life. Now with ADHD, it's when there is hyperactivity. ADD, you have an attention problem, but there's no hyperactivity. So with me, only at varsity I realized that I have ADD.
Right.
And one pastor said to me, because I kept on saying, yo, Nelly, attention disorder. And he was like, you are a child of God.
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to call yourself a disorder?
Because not call your foot benzima lapho.
And it hit me.
Yeah.
And from that day, I started praying about it, because with an attention deficit disorder, you just can't pay attention on one activity for long.
Yeah.
You jump from this to that to that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you can see how busy I am.
Yes. I know it. I know from my own life.
You also know it, right?
When I'm working on the computer, 16 tabs are open.
Exactly. That's us.
And on a bad day, nothing gets finished, but I was busy.
Exactly. But the beauty of it is I found myself giving birth to so many projects. Because if I can't pay attention to the school project, then I'm going to do that one.
Right.
Because my mind is so limited in focusing on one for long.
Get you.
So there is a positive side
Yes.
that we need to teach our children to say, look, in as much as this needs to be managed, there is a positive side.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
So when it's well managed, it can give good results. Yeah, not Trevor Noah. Look at him today.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I understand when you say we need to look at it in an individual perspective to say, in my child, how is it manifesting?
Yes.
And I'm adding to say, how can I find a positive side to this?
Yes.
You know?
And let the child capitalize
On the positive side.
Because it's easy for them to speak down on themselves.
Exactly.
Because they've got this big label
Exactly.
and diagnosis on them.
Yes.
So they're useless, you know.
Let alone it's called a disorder.
Hey, Nkosi yami. On top of.
You know, so for me it's important, and as a professional I'm saying it's important that we work with the diagnosis and the treatment. However, the added advantage as Christian parents is that we must go with God's label. I'm not a disorder.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
somehow I'm differently abled.
Yeah, differently
Abled,
Yes, not
you know?
disabled.
Not differently abled.
Yes, yes.
And you know, so it means I can do a lot of things.
Yes.
You know, when my attention goes from that, I can switch it to another positive project. You know, so let's find ways that
Yeah.
children don't feel, because honestly speaking, it can come as a stigma.
Yeah.
You know, because every day you have to think, she need disorder.
Hey, Nkosi yami.
Hey, but from dim.
Hey, 'cause, like, you know, my occupational therapist recently, you know, looked at me and we're in a session and said, Ndumiso, ADHD is a disability.
Sure.
I sank in my chair. 'Cause I was like, what are you saying to me?
You see now.
That's a big word.
It is.
It's a disability. You have it. I'm like, aibo. So, and I'm imagining that weight that I felt on a child.
From 5 years, because
Nkosi yami.
this has been diagnosed at 5.
Nkosi yami.
You are hearing that all the time. So this is where it's important that we come back to seeing ourselves the way God sees
Yeah.
us. Because if God brought me into this world and He had a purpose with my life, I don't think disorder is one of them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I need to say I have a diagnosis, but that's not my identity.
Yes.
So parents need to look at that angle. Like we are saying, from a very early age, you are hearing disability, disorder.
Yeah, uyagula
Uyagula,
wena.
You are a problem. Esikolweni bakhala ngawe nje.
And you know what you do sometimes as parents, when we speak to other adults and the children are around. Hayi, phela umntanami lona umntana kadokotela,
Eish.
umntana wesibhedlela. This child lives in a hospital. And this you are talking to an adult, but the child hears what's being said about them.
Exactly. You know, let me give you a classic example. I love my mom. May her soul rest in peace. I was born 1980. My
Sure.
late brother was born 1979.
Sure. Small difference.
Small difference. So, when I was around 3, 4, every time people would visit at our house, she would say, Ilota, you know, my other name is Lota.
Yes.
Hey, unphazamisile. Antibute njani?
Nkosi yami. Yezwa manje.
Yes, sir.
And you're recording this information in
You
your
know,
head.
and I think I was around 3, 4, but I still remember it. And she didn't mean it in a bad way. But I think now and then she would say things like, because as a child, I was an introvert. I struggled to express myself.
Right.
It's the opposite now, right?
Now it's
So she would say things like, hey, mina lo mntwana anungitwisisi. And that was just adding. So I'm trying to say that as you are now saying, around visitors, around people, mntwana kadokotela lo. Hey, siyahamba nalo mntwana. Hey. And those things, they tend to form a negative formation on my identity,
Yes.
or they give a very negative,
Very distorted,
distorted identity.
They see themselves as a burden.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's important that when we raise these kids, we don't make them feel like they're a burden, and make them feel like even the way we introduce them to people, we are fronting the problem. Why can't you say, "Hello, Taloi"?
Full stop.
Full stop.
Yes.
You know?
Or maybe add something positive.
Positive,
Instead
yeah.
of-
You know?
But here's the thing. We are, when I can imagine that when a parent speaks like that, they're looking for some kind of solidarity.
Yeah.
Some kind of,
Okay.
please see me, I'm struggling. It's a cry for help in a kind of way, but it can be done in a healthy way, away from the kids.
For them, it could be therapy. Yeah, I hear what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
But we need to balance, because it's not about them alone. How is the child feeling? So there needs to be a balance, that maybe even if you feel that you want to talk about it, let it be when the child is away.
Yes.
You know, you can say things like, okay, Lota, lo number 5, lo. Okay, you know, Lota, famba tlanga, go and play.
Yeah.
And then we will talk. Hey, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
In
Healthy.
the child's absence, it's healthy.
Yes.
So we can be conscious and be intentional about it. I feel that we are educated enough these days for these things to make sense, to say we can control our conversations when our children are around, so that they don't feel like, mina vele I'm introduced like an autistic child,
Vele I'm a
or
problem,
a
vele.
problem child, or a Phazamisa child, you know. So it's important that parents are conscious
Yes.
of the conversations when you are raising that child. People that are always coming into your space,
Yes.
they don't have to be first told about the problem side
Yes.
of that child.
Yes.
You know, tell them something positive.
Something
You know
positive.
what? She's good at doing whatever. And for once, let a child first hear the positive feedback about themselves, because the diagnosis, hence we are saying, sometimes it came too early. So imagine when all this time uhleluzwa nje ukuthi you are a disability or uyinkinga. By the time I grow up, it's a lot. It's a lot.
I hear you very well. I want to talk about crime and the gangsterism culture that we have in our communities. It's a problem in South Africa.
Yeah.
I know it's not unique to us, but definitely our crime levels are very high. And what has always bothered me with the youth and children growing up is just how the life of gangsterism sucks them in, especially in our townships. What makes children susceptible to that lifestyle or a life of crime? And then you find your child
They're into
in
it.
5 years' time, that you've got a long prison sentence, and you're sitting like, wow, what just happened to my little Vusi? Was just
Innocent.
running around
Yes.
just yesterday. Now, armed robbery, you know, assault.
Yeah.
What sucks young people, young children into that life?
There are so many elements. You're bringing something there into me. So, and you know, it's a lot. There are environmental factors that do contribute.
Sure.
The environment, it might not be directly from home.
Yeah.
In a society where we live in, these things are in their face. Okay? At home, you do your part. You tell your children, you give them values. They seem like they're getting it.
Yeah.
But they have to go to school.
Yeah.
They have friends.
Ish.
Now they have this friend who has a malume who is a Ginzanje. And it sounds so glamorous, you know?
Because Malume Ona is driving the best cars.
You know, the best cars. And already this friend is idolizing Malume kakhulu, and they're your friend. So it can come from that angle. At home, things are fine. Parents are doing their part. So when we raise our children, we need to also check their social life. who, because most of the time they are with those friends.
Right.
Their conversations are influenced by what their friends are saying. And that slowly changes the way they see life. So friendships can be very dangerous. Another one which is also important, it's for us to understand that children are going to make choices, and those choices are going to contradict what we've taught them.
Now that's a hard one.
It's a hard one.
Because immediately when a parent experiences their child going down that road,
Exactly.
they're like, but I taught them everything.
Exactly. So what is your role as a parent? And I think that's where I want to liberate parents. If you have done your part, you cannot continue to control choices. You have influenced choices, but there comes a time where they have to make their own choices. And you look at God. God never made a choice for Adam. All we can do is to tell them of the consequences of the bad choices they make. So it's a very difficult one, this one, and Dumiso, because we, like I said, we were raised in a generation where we were raised like slaves. We were told what to do.
Yeah.
We were told not to question. And parents made choices for us.
Sure.
But I don't think that was correct, because the minute you are out of their control,
Oh, wow.
oh,
You go wild. Yes.
Bona.
You're paying back for all those
I'm
years.
telling you. So it's another thing that we need to redefine the role of a parent when it comes to making bad versus or good versus bad choices. We can only influence them. We can only say to them, my wish is that you choose this life, because this life has 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
But when they now make their choice, indeed it hits you, because indeed, like I said, there is a loss of a child that you are now mourning to say, where is that child? That child is dead somehow. So we need to understand that it's an innate thing. It's important that we do not violate their willpower to make their own choices, unfortunately. So imagine, Vele, you have to understand your child chose crime. It's not easy. It's not. But do we give up on them? Do we easily accept? Because I think for us as Christians, maybe it's better. In a township where crime is somehow protected even from home, where parents can see this child is bringing expensive stuff in the house, but they are not working, and you are using those things as a parent. Why? You need to question.
Yes.
And even demand that I don't want those things to be in my house. Demand that they be taken out of the house. So in cases where parents are also even enjoying
The benefits.
the benefits of a child being a delinquent or doing crime, it's very bad. But in a case where this child grew up, sometimes, do you know, you're a pastor's child, right?
Yes.
Where it is even a pastor's child who has turned into crime. It can be very difficult. You even start asking, did I not pray the right prayers?
Yeah. Could be any kind of leader, even a political leader's
It can
child.
be, exactly.
A community leader's child.
Exactly.
Principal's child.
I know.
Sure.
I mean, the other time I was so shocked. They were saying a grandchild of the late great Mandela was part of a crime, and you're like,
you see?
Kanjani?
Yeah.
You know?
We forget that family is actually a human family as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where you see that we cannot control choices forever.
Choices.
You know? So first we need to not blame ourselves, to understand that they've exercised their willpower. You know? So it's not easy.
Yeah.
And we need to understand that in cases where we have contributed, because there are cases where children tend to crime because there are always financial difficulties at home.
Yeah.
We can't provide. Ati maga begile abanye. What are the latest sneakers?
Yes,
What
could
are they
be
wearing
Jordans
now? Jordans,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah, now all this time ubona kahle ukuthi phela mina ngigqoka solo ngigqoka le yasejet
Yes.
and angifuni.
Because
Everyone else is keeping up with the Jordans and whatnot. So some of these kids, they turn into crime because our financial difficulties has propelled them in that direction.
Sure.
And it's easy for us sometimes to blame ourselves because somehow we know that the situation at home has contributed.
I need to they tell us what the child is a reflection
exactly.
of the family or the parent.
You know.
So we just take that in.
Exactly. So it can be hard because there are different causes. So hence I'm saying at the end, just because we are poor at home doesn't mean you can still make the right choice to say, because I'm poor, I'm going to work hard, you know, to make sure that I become independent
Flipping
financially.
the script. Yes.
Exactly, flipping the script. So, but you can imagine that parent, every time bahleli, ngabo 9, 10, they know every time they hear a knock, possibly it's police.
Hey,
How difficult that can be for a parent.
living in fear.
Always living in fear. Every time mawuhleli nje kunama report, ungishayile, or, you know. So we need to also understand the instability that it brings
Yeah.
into that family,
Yeah.
that the joy that it steals in that family, because we are raising a criminal here.
Of course, yeah.
Everyone is unhappy about Undumiso, you know. But ukuphi bathi ungapha sowenzani? You know.
What now?
What now? You know? So these are some of the things that when we look at a problematic child, we have to also understand what it does to the family itself. It steals the peace and the joy in that family. So parents who are going through that is why, Mina, I always say that I feel that being Christian is an added advantage. You know, they need a lot of support system.
Sure.
They need godly counsel. They need prayers. They need, you know, someone who is going to talk to them and not make them feel bad because they're feeling bad already. Phela, when a child is stealing in the community,
Yes.
some people, they even feel like uthunywe uye lo mama, you know, and it's so unfair. And in some cases, it's true. Some parents are naughty.
Yeah.
They do it. But in cases where you can see this parent has done all they can to raise this child in the way they should go, but somehow they're making bad choices. So it's the balance that we need to say, how do we help those parents also find a way not to feel bad as if they're not feeling bad already.
Sure.
And also that parent must also never give up and accept that my child really is a criminal.
Yeah.
You know, keep praying for that child. Keep seeking help for that child.
Yeah.
And do you know that these things can be spiritual? Some
Definitely.
of these kids, there's a tormenting spirit.
Yeah.
We see a criminal, and you know, this thing is spiritual. So it needs to be understood, why are they doing crime? So that even when we try to assist, maybe all they need is to be prayed for. And over time, you know, they will receive, you know, the intervention spiritually.
Sure.
Some of these kids, the problem is as a child, and I'm going to bring this and say we blame it on the parents. From an early age, when they do something, you've always covered for them.
Oh. Oh.
Yes.
Yay.
Every time.
Lack of discipline.
And lack of consequences. So they are so used to being covered that for them, they don't see the bad side of their behavior because their parent taught them, you'll be covered.
I've got you.
Got you. Yabo. So some of these kids, when they have raped that child, they've beaten that child, when it's time for the law to take its course. Hayi man asikhulumeni lento.
Umntwana
Hayi
lona,
umntwana. Kanti sometimes hard as it is, even God couldn't change consequences. When Adam sinned, the penalty still came.
Yes.
So good parenting really must allow you to let your child face the consequences for their behavior, even if it means going to jail. Pray for them. Nkulunkulu magayo yeseva, please protect them. Aphume magaphuma abe right. But this thing of saying, "Hi man, asikhulumeni," that's where sometimes the problem is. And like I'm saying, it started when they were young.
Oh my goodness.
You know, they would do something wrong, even to their siblings. You even say, "Hi man, miege, hi man." They never learned to face consequences. So this behavior, in as much as I'm saying that we don't always have to blame the parents, but in some cases it's the bad parenting.
Yeah.
It is.
Wow. That's a very hard one. Yeah. Since that we have to do a part 2. Yes, there's so much to talk about.
I know.
As we close, just your parting shots on the state of the South African family. All of this takes place within a context of family. What are your wishes and prayers about the family institution?
Look, for me, first of all, kuningi.
Asiqale lapho kuningi.
In my language, switele in Tsonga.
Yes.
There is a lot.
Sure.
And with the South African laws and constitution and everything around family stuff, we need to take ownership. We cannot allow our children to be told by the government. Families need to make time for family time.
Yes.
Let's have a culture. Let's bring it back. I know old school sometimes, sounds boring. Let's have a way of saying, let's set up the fire.
Yeah.
Sit around the fire and talk about what matters. Let's define family based on our own values. Things are upside down. Things are upside down.
Sure.
So I am saying that parents, please, let's also cut down on the digital stuff. It's robbing us.
I was thinking that we are raising kids who know nothing different.
I'm telling you.
We were introduced to internet, Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah.
For them, it's just the reality.
It's the reality. And you know what? It also helps us to cope sometimes because if umntwana kukhokho melon,
Yes.
vele I'm able to cover a lot because
For hours.
For hours.
They can be on the tablet,
I'm
playing
telling you.
games, and you feel, I can rest.
So claim your time, families.
Time.
Please, your family time has been stolen because of technology. Like I said earlier in the conversation, there are a lot of untold stories that you need to hear. You're actually usemuva. There's a lot. So families, if there's one thing that I'm asking is that let's claim back our time. Let's have that strict rule that says for 2 hours, gadgets down.
Yes.
We talk.
Yes.
And, you'll be surprised how, the other time my husband was like, when I'm off my phone, I feel like a junkie. I fidget. Because the way we are so used, when you don't have the phone.
Yeah.
So let's claim back family time because for me, I think that's the control. Like we can control things from our households because that's when we are going to listen to all the information the wrong information that social media has given them. Because if they're always looking at phones, then who's parenting them? It's not you. So for me, it's my wish that we can claim back our family time and pray together, talk together, tell stories. Let's go back to that time where it's so normal, where there's no phone, there is no, we are just sitting as a family and we are talking. So for me, it starts as simple as that. Number two, which is the last one, is I know we are Western, but let's go back to seeking extra support.
Sure.
Go heavy. You cannot do it alone. Make sure that you have people that you talk to about all these things. If your child is experiencing difficulties, have a relationship with that one person who helps you, and they will also help you pray about it.
Gotcha.
Parenting is heavy, but it's doable.
Praise God. Powerful way to end off.
Amen.
It's doable.
It's doable.
If you have been blessed by this conversation, leave us a comment. Maybe you have a question. Drop your questions. We'll make sure that Ms. Mathebula gets them. But this has been to encourage you, to equip you, that you are doing well as a parent.
Yes.
Continue doing that. Apply the tools that you've learned, not just in this conversation, but from whatever resources and other relationships and other trainings maybe you've attended. And it's never too late to turn the ship around in your family.
Can I just chip in? I'm sure in your editing.
Yeah.
Forgive yourself as a parent.
Oh, man.
If you feel you didn't do something right, forgive yourself. God gives you a chance every day. His mercy is new every day. So there are parents who are in a corner. Even as we do this podcast, you feel, if only I had done things differently.
Yeah.
You cannot continue to parent with that guilt. Forgive yourself. God has forgiven you.
Yes.
That's very important.
Amen. Amen. Perfect way to close it off. If you've been blessed by this, share it with somebody, share it with another parent, share it with another family that needs it. And we are looking forward to hear from you. I promise I'll try my best to get her back for part 2. We need it. But it's been wonderful. Thank you so much for your time, ma'am.
Thank you, Ntumi.
And
So
we are-
it's been a pleasure.
And thank you for the work that you're doing. It's so important. I'm thinking about it now. You are literally shaping the future. Yeah, because children are the future.
Sure, they
Yeah,
are.
they are,
Eh?
they are.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you so much for having
Let's not
me.
forget God in our parenting. Let's parent with Him. God bless you. We love you. Bye-bye.
Amen.